channel. Please share it with your near and dear. Now we are going to learn introducing and apologizing. Introducing and apologizing. Right. Now, introducing oneself to another. So, there are really several ways to introduce oneself to another. So, as per this, introducing oneself to another, introducing oneself to another, we can use several ways. For example, under this, one way is good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. I am Subbarao, I am a teacher. So, this is one type of introduction. So, if I want to introduce myself to another person, I can go to him and say, good morning, I am Subbu, a teacher. Otherwise, good afternoon, I am Subbu, a teacher. Otherwise, you can say, good evening, I am Subbu, I am a teacher. So, in this way, you can greet the person and introduce yourself. This is one way, okay? Just like good morning, etc. Saying good morning like that, you can introduce, I am Subbarao, I am a teacher, I am Subbu, a teacher, like that. Okay, number 2, if you are going to a person as there is a chance to disturb him or interrupt him, you can even say, excuse me, I am Subbarao, otherwise I am Subbu, a teacher. In this way you can introduce yourself. When you feel that you are interrupting the person, then you can use, excuse me, I am Subbu, a teacher. And sometimes you can even say, hello. Directly you can say, hello, I am Subbu, a teacher or an engineer, like that you can use. And not only this one, sometimes you can even say, going to a new person, you can say in this way, I like to introduce myself to you. I would like to introduce myself to you. I would like to introduce myself to you. By saying in this way, I would like to introduce myself to you. I am Subbu, I am a teacher. So, in this way, so in such several ways we can use introduction part in this way. Okay, you can introduce yourself to another person by saying in these ways. Okay, and for that, the response for that, what response comes for that really? So, when you introduce yourself to another person in this way, the other person says, glad to meet you, or nice to meet you, or pleased to meet you. He can say in this way. Just I want to mention here, the response also I want to mention here. The response from the other person is glad to, glad, or nice, or pleased to meet you. So, in this way, he can respond, glad to meet you, or nice to meet you, or pleased to meet you. And for this, again the next response comes from the other person, the same, glad to meet you too, glad to meet you too. or nice to meet you too, or pleased to meet you too, or sometimes in most formal way, same to you also people use. But this is a nice expression to say glad to meet you too, or nice to meet you too, or pleased to meet you too. And after this, generally when you are newly introduced to people, you can even greet, how do you do? How do you do? As you are newly introduced to people now, you can greet by saying how do you do also. Then the other person can also greets you by saying how do you do. Okay, this is the way of introducing one person to another. Now let us come to the second item. What's that second one here? Introducing oneself to a group of people. Okay, how to introduce oneself to a group of people? Generally, we use in this way. Good morning, or good evening, one and all. Good evening, one and all. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, all simply. Good evening, all of you. By saying in this way, I can introduce, I am Subbu, a teacher. In this way we can use, and this is one way. And one more way also, hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. And again the same, I am Subbu, a teacher, like that. So this is a way of introducing one person to a group of people. Means introducing oneself to a group of people. For example, if I want to introduce myself to a group of people, I can say in this way, good morning one and all. By waving my hand in this way, good morning one and all. Or simply I can say, good morning everybody. Or even I can say, good morning all. Good morning all of you. In this way I can say. If it is evening like that, good evening one and all. Good evening all of you. Good evening all. Good evening everybody. I am Subbu, a teacher. This is introduction. And sometimes we can say, hello everybody. I am Subbu, a teacher. So this is introducing oneself to a group of people. Now one more introduction way is also there. Now we are going to learn even the third way of introducing a person to another. Okay. Now the third one is introducing one person to another person or a group of people. And so in this way, so the third way, so in this one we can sometimes, for example, you say, if I want to introduce my friend to another friend, I can use these sentences. Okay, for example, number A, in this way we can say, David, by addressing a person in this way, because David is my friend, I want to introduce one person by name Raju to Mr. David, then I can use in this way, David, this is my friend Raju, for example, or meet my friend. And in the same way, my friend Raju to you. So in this way we can introduce one person to another. Okay, now let's see once again. David is my friend, and Raju is also one of my friends. And then I can say, I want to introduce Raju to David. I want to introduce my friend Raju to another friend David. Then generally we address the person David. This is my friend Raju. Or David, meet my friend Raju. Or we can say, David, please meet my friend Raju. And we can even say, David, I like you to meet my friend Raju. And David, we can say, David, I would like to introduce my friend Raju to you. David, let me introduce my friend Raju to you. Let it be friend also, uncle also, aunt also, sister also, brother also, we can use. This is my friend. Instead of my friend, you can use this is my uncle, this is my aunt, this is my sister, this is my brother, my cousin. Like that you can use and introduce. So after this introduction, generally what the response comes from there, we have already learnt. Glad to meet you, glad to meet you, Raju. David says then, glad to meet you, Raju, or nice to meet you, Raju, or pleased to meet you, Raju, he can say. Then Raju can say, nice to meet you too, pleased to meet you too, or glad to meet you too. And after that, as these are newly introduced people, they can even greet after completing all this one, how do you do? How do you do? And the response for that again is, how do you do? How do you do? So in this way, we can introduce one person to another. So this is the way of introduction. Let's learn apologizing. Apologizing. Apologizing means to say sorry. To say sorry. Generally, when do we say sorry? When we make any mistake or when we cause any problem to another person, we say sorry. And so the way of conveying sorry is in several ways. We may say sorry, or I am sorry, or I am extremely sorry. When we give any problem to other person, generally we say sorry, or I am sorry, or sometimes I am extremely sorry. Just for that, the response comes from that person is, it's okay, or it's all right, it's all right, or don't worry, these may be the responses. If any person says sorry or I am sorry, I am extremely sorry, the response comes from the other person is, it's okay, it's all right, don't worry. So this may be the response is. Okay, in this way, so we apologize to other person. This is our courtesy to use. Okay. And sorry, the word is used for one more purpose also. Sorry is used for one more purpose also. This word in question form like that generally we use when we don't hear somebody say something, or when we don't understand clearly what another person says to us. Even such conditions also we use sorry. For example, if a teacher is teaching something, a student may not receive what a teacher teaches, then the student may get up and ask sorry. So he means, sorry means, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Which means, sir, please repeat it. Please repeat it. So, in the sense of please repeat it, we can ask sorry, but in question way like that, we ask sorry, we ask like that. So, once again I am telling you this one, if we don't hear perfectly what a person teaches or says, or if we don't understand what the other person says, then we can say in the form of question voice like that, sorry. Then the person rectifies his mistake and then he tries to teach well, or he tries to explain us well. So, to explain us again, to say us again, we can say even sorry. This is the way, you see, I beg your pardon also we can use. When we don't understand anything, we can even say, I beg your pardon, sir. So instead of saying, I beg your pardon, sir, we can even say sorry. So in this way, we use the sorry for apologizing also, for to request a person to repeat it again also we use sorry. Thank you for watching this channel. We'll meet in the next episode.